This Guy's Garage. Like and subscribe.
Les documents publiés aujourd'hui.
Documents published today reveal that senior management at the Bank of Canada is worried about creating false expectations about interest rates. Who created these false hopes? The finance minister, who said 2 months ago that we had won the fight against inflation. But since she made that statement, inflation has risen 43%. It's higher in Canada than it is in the United States. And there could be further interest hikes on Canadians who are already the most in debt in the G7. Will they stop their inflationary deficit so we can bring down interest rates and save Canadians? The Honourable Innovation Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the last piece of advice that Canadians will take is from this leader who talks about interest rate, Mr. Speaker. Today we introduced a bill to tackle cost of living in this country, to tackle issues with respect to housing, Mr. Speaker. Canadians know we have their back. We'll fight for them at every step of the way.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
It's a way the mice will play. How many others are going to be auditioning for the Prime Minister's job up there? It's okay, they won't be there long regardless. Thank you. But in the meantime, we've got a forthcoming crisis this government helped create. Their inflationary deficits mean that the cost of living is rising faster here than in the United States. Inflation is up 43% in 2 months, and this after the finance minister said it was gone. Why won't they get rid of their inflationary deficits and taxes so Canadians can eat, heat, and house themselves?
The Honourable Minister for Public Services, the Treasury Board.
Across the aisle, our government actually has a plan to support Canadians. Whether it's 11 million Canadians with the grocery rebate, whether it is 4.2 million Canadians with the workers' benefit, Mr. Speaker, or whether it is 6 million Canadians with indexing old age security, Mr. Speaker, unlike the Conservatives, our government actually has a plan, and every step of the way, we will focus on Canadians and what they need during this economic time. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of the Opposition.
Well, judging by the applause level, it looks like the fellow from Shawinigan has a bit of a lead in the Unfortunately, Canada has a lead in higher inflation than the United States of America. Even the Bank of Canada's Governing Council expressed concern that it was giving false hope about interest rates. The recent inflation report that came out shows that the bank may again have to raise rates on the Canadian people who are the most indebted in all of the G7. Will this government reverse its inflationary deficits before rates rise and bankrupt Canadians?
The Honourable Minister for Innovation.
Speaker, I may give the Leader of the Opposition a hay for making jokes, but when it comes to the economy, it's something different, and Canadians know that, Mr. Speaker. What the Conservatives should look at is what we did today, Mr. Speaker. We talked and we introduced a bill that will make a difference in the lives of Canadians. That's what Canadians expect, Mr. Speaker. They don't expect that we make fun in this chamber. They expect us to work for Canadians. Today we introduced a bill that will make a difference in the lives of Canadians. And I enjoin all the members of this House to work with us, make them meaningful measures for Canadians so we can help people at the time of need.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, I do tell the occasional joke, Mr. Speaker, but none of my humor meets with the joke that is this government's economic plan. A joke that has given us the worst inflation in 40 years, doubled the national debt, doubled the rent, doubled mortgage payments, doubled the needed down payment for Canadians to get into a home, made it so that a Torontonian has to save 25 years for a down payment where they used to be able to pay off a mortgage in that time. Will they reverse their disastrous inflationary policies so that Canadians can finally eat, heat, and house themselves?
The Honourable Minister for Housing.
Speaker, it's fascinating that the honourable member, after a summer talking about housing, put forward a plan that tinkers around the edges, which experts have indicated demonstrate a lack of understanding of the urgency or scale of Canada's housing crisis. For example, we have advanced a measure that will get rid of GST on apartment construction. He's now made a commitment to put it back on for middle-class homes. Mr. Speaker, he has made a commitment to cut the program that is now changing the way that cities build home in London, in Calgary, and will impact many cities across the country. We will advance policies that make a difference, not just hang something in the window and be a pretender like him.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, Mr. Speaker, what my plan on the GST does is make sure we don't give tax breaks for $10 million penthouse apartments like that member is proposing to do. We want the builders who qualify for it to have affordable apartment rentals so that Canadians can actually live in them. God forbid. The limousine Liberals want all the money to go to the penthouse apartments. As for his program, $4 billion, and a year and a half later, it hasn't built a single solitary house, and it's only promised 2,000 homes, of which you'd need 1,500 of those announcements to get to the number we need. Why won't they get out of the way so we can build?
The Honourable Minister of Housing.
The honourable member is concerned about building affordable homes. He should talk to the people who advocate for the building of affordable homes. They are telling us to advance a full GST measure, not a half measure, because that is what's going to get homes built in this country. He plans to cut the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is changing the way that cities build homes. He is literally cutting money that's going to build homes and planning to tax the people who build them. If he can't see that that don't work, he should go back to his image consultant and tell them that he needs to start wearing glasses again.
Speaker, after doubling the cost of housing in this country, the Prime Minister thought he would appoint someone to fix the mess he made, who was in charge of immigration when they put refugees on the streets and under bridges, when they had international students sold into prostitution and human trafficking. And he says that I need glasses. This is the same minister that lost 1 million people. He literally lost track of 1 million people that came into the country. Can the minister please tell us, glasses, binoculars, or otherwise, how you lose 1 million people?
The Honourable Minister for Immigration. I just want to tell the member for Spadina Fort York to be ready, just in case we have to go to the end of the line. The Honourable Minister, please go.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I think you see how thin-skinned the Leader of the Opposition can get when he gets a piece of his own medicine.
That's right.
Look, international students are a credit to this country, Mr. Speaker. They are the future of this country, and they are an asset that is very lucrative, and we cannot let them down. Clearly, we need to work with provinces to make sure that they have proper housing, and we have to crack down on agents that are giving them false hope across the country. But let's not make this a partisan issue. Thank you.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the question was how you lose 1 million people. And then how is it that the Prime Minister scours his entire front bench, and hopefully he even gave a little bit of attention to his beleaguered backbench when he was shuffling the cabinet, and the one guy that he could find to fix the doubling of housing costs that he incurred as Prime Minister was the guy who lost 1 million people. The guy who will go down in history in the Guinness Book of World Record of having lost more people than have ever been lost in the history of the world. How is it possible they couldn't find anyone better than that to put in charge of housing?
The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, while the Conservatives stay focused on us, we're going to stay focused on Canadians. While the Leader of the Opposition is making personal attacks